Our next question is anonymous. It is, why did you miss so many votes according to the ads?
Right. So it's so absolutely ridiculous. So this past year, you all, I got COVID, and I'm an asthmatic. It's not my first, it wasn't my first bout of COVID, but it hits me hard. And I had instances when I couldn't physically get to the floor. And I'm talking about after I was cleared by the doctors, after my isolation period was over. I still was really, really sick, and I just couldn't physically get to the floor. And unfortunately, when Republicans gained control of the House, they removed proxy voting. They removed proxy voting from us, where uh, someone else could have voted for me, another member of the House, which would have allowed them to vote while I was, away. Um, Over 100 of the votes that I missed happened during those 3 days after I was off isolation while I still had COVID. So, well, actually, it was during that period, actually. So no, not after the 3 days. It was those days when I couldn't show up because I was in isolation, but also just too sick to move. Um, so that was over 100 of those votes. Literally over 100 of those votes happened in just 3 days. A majority of these votes were individual amendments. Those amendments occurred while I was sick. And so I will say, um, what the attack ads aren't telling you is that I did make it to the final vote of passage. I literally dragged myself to the floor to vote. And not only did I do that, I had the assistance of staff from our whip's office who, um, at points, were actually holding up my arms, trying to help me walk because I was so weak, but I was showing up to vote. So, Wesley Bell is purposely distorting the truth in order to fit this narrative that I'm not an effective leader or that I'm not delivering for St. Louis. This couldn't be further from the truth. This couldn't be farther from the truth. But the reality is that I am human, and there is no time off. There's no proxy voting for members of Congress. So um, having COVID is the biggest reason why I had those. And then, like I said, it was 3 days.